Picking up where we left off with that idea, now let's look at the minor keys and see how they can follow the exact same pattern. Well, you might already know that if C is do, we can step down 2 notes, do, ti, la, which means that if C is do, then la is A. It's 2 notes below do within that scale, within that key signature. We can use the same idea that we did a second ago to count up 5 or count down 5 and produce all of the same results, but with minor keys. So in this case, counting from A up 5, we get to E minor. And again, with all of these, I'm using lowercase for minor. And then counting from E up 5, we get B. And from B up 5, we get F, but F has already been sharped by the time we get to the 3rd sharp. So that's F sharp there. So again, if we have 3 sharps, as this key does, then those 3 sharps are going to be F, C, and G, which means that the note in this key is not actually F. The note in this key is F sharp. Let's continue on. If we count up F sharp, up to the 5th note in that scale, we get C sharp. And if we count C sharp up to the 5th note in that scale, we get G sharp. And G sharp up in the 5th note to that scale is D sharp. And with C sharp, and from D sharp, and we count up to the 5th note in that, we get A sharp. So you'll notice, in this case, we were going along, and once we got to F, then all the rest of them started to get sharps. And the same story here. Why? Because F is our 1st sharp. Let's do the same thing with minor flat keys. We can start from A, and we go down 5 or up 4, and we get to, count with me, D. And then from D, down 5 or up 4, and we get to G. And from G, we get to C. Now, these are not flat, because when we're at 2 flats, G has not been flat yet. And when we're at 3 flats, C has not been flat yet. So we're not going to start adding flat on them until we've already gotten to that many flats. So 4 flats, we're at F minor, right? Counting from C. And then counting from F, we're at B flat minor. So finally we got to a point where it's already been flat. By the time we get to 5 flats, B, of course, is flatted. And counting from B, we get to E flat, and then counting from E flat, we get to A flat. Now, once we started adding flats with both major keys and minor keys, we got to B flat, and everything after that had flats. In here, we got to B flat, and everything after that had flats. So we can start to see lots and lots of patterns emerging from here. Once we get to the sharp to F, then we're going to keep proceeding in order and keep adding sharps. So once we get to the flatted B, we're going to keep going in order and adding in flats from there. But there's even more to this construction. If we look here, we've got F, C, G, D, A, E, B, or F, C, G, D, A, E, B, or B, E, A, D, G, C, F, or B, E, A, D, G, C, F. So the order of the sharps and the flats is the same pattern as the order of the keys. The only difference is it starts on something else. The same pattern, same notes, it just starts on a different note. This starts on F and this starts on G. And this starts on E. But all of these things can be boiled down to a single idea of a pattern of notes.